Hello, hello. I hope you all are having a lovely, sunny Wednesday. I know I am. It's beautiful here in Vancouver. We'll get started soon. Today, we're going to be talking about our rebrand. It is so exciting seeing the little pixels icon here. I just love it so much. So we have Gazelle. She's our ops manager. She's going to come up and talk about Harmony. And Luke, as well, of course, will answer questions and talk about oh my god, I literally cannot say that word. Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna skip it and let Luke talk. We'll wait here for a couple more minutes and for more people to filter in, and then we can get started. Okay, I think we can get started here. So let's start with Luke. You can talk about that word that I am not going to bother trying to pronounce, and then we'll dive a little bit more into our rebrand and Harmony.
Heidi,
I cannot.
I just rewrote our white paper. That's like one of our core pillars. You need to be able to say that word.
When you
work, you're gonna be saying it a lot more.
When you work online and you work remotely, there are certain words that you never say out loud. That's one of them. So.
No, totally fair. Yeah, on that note, we just rewrote our white paper. We have to hand it off to some of the partners that we're working with today. We're not releasing it to you guys yet because there's a lot of alpha in that white paper that we're going to slowly be teasing and releasing over the next month. But that's super exciting to get that out and ready. And one of the core things in this white paper, I just want to bring this up today because it's super interesting seeing what's going on with NFT worlds and that announcement that Minecraft is no longer allowing any blockchain gaming to happen on their client or their servers. So that really plays well into what we've been up to, our philosophies and what we're working on. And we actually are going to be seeking out founders of these projects and seeing if we can provide any utility to them through what we've been building, our own internal platform. But we're super excited about the concept of interoperability, and we can push that even further than we have. So we were really early on the concept. We started doing NFT integrations. I want to say that we were the first one. I think us and World Wide Web did the first NFT integrations into a Metaverse at essentially the same time. Like we started working on them probably at the same time. I think we shipped before them. Yeah, that was just the first wave of what interoperability can do in the Metaverse or in Web3 gaming. That was a really, really simple use case. Just bringing your identity, your PFP from one Metaverse experience to another. There's a ton of other things that we've been thinking about and ways that we want to be pushing this space soon. We're super excited that we can unlock that pretty quickly. And we're looking for partnerships around that. So if you guys know any innovative projects that you want us to get involved with, let us know. There's a ton of win-win scenarios that we can do here. We have plans. I can't quite announce them yet, but we're looking to be much, much more creative than what we have before and kind of push the boundaries on what you can expect with interoperability. So one of our core pillars, this is all tying back to the rebrand, tying back to the things we've been working on over the last couple of months, and the things are shipping over the next 2 months as well too. So I'll let Gazelle and Heidi take it away from there and go a bit more into what this new brand that we're building is all about, kind of the pillars behind that, and introducing that concept of harmony to you guys.
Great. Thanks, Luke. So one of our community team members just wrote out exactly how to pronounce this word. So interoperability. There you go. I did it, guys. Okay. So we wanted to talk about everything rebrand. So our rebrand went live on Monday. And, me personally, this has been, I think, 7 months in the waiting. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. It has been quite a project. We've worked closely with a studio that has been amazing throughout the process. And Gazelle, our ops manager here, she's live with us today. I'm so excited to have her here. She led the project. So Gazelle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi. Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Gazelle. This is funny. I've never done this before. So I don't know. It's like I'm on a podcast. I like it. You two are so, yes. Your two are just like flowing. Like I can hear you're doing this all the time. So this was a super exciting project, especially because what was really, so leading the project was interesting. I'll start kind of there because they are this company that we are working with. They're located in London. So it's been really cool to work with. I mean, we have a remote team, but working with an external company who's not located here and is 6 to 8 hours ahead of us has had its challenges, but they did such a good job in being accommodating and adjusting their schedule as much as they could to make this project happen for us. And it was so exciting for them because they'd never done anything like this before. I've never done anything like this before. I don't think any of us have. And everything felt very new, very exciting, very vibrant. And now it's going to be out in the world. And it's something that I think we at Pixels are extremely proud of. I was telling Heidi earlier before that I've actually Normally, I don't really share my work with people, but this one, I think it looks so cool. It's so beautiful. It's so playful. It looks adventurous to me. And I just shared it honestly, with all of my friends. And what's even cooler about it is that a lot of my friends are not into video games at all, but it triggered them. Like, it made them really interested, and they've come back to me with so many questions about the game. So it's kind of cool to think that an aesthetic can get people into something that they never thought they would be into. So I want to start it with that and say that that's really cool to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of our core values, is being welcoming and trying to bridge that gap between Web 2 and Web 3. And that really does start with branding and messaging and all of that. So going back to the beginning of this project, one question that we were asking was, how do we create a fun and inviting experience that builds trust? Which is exactly what it seems like we've done through what you were just suggesting. So that's really incredible. Exciting.
Yeah, that's a huge success right there. Like, we're the three of us are going to cry on this call. It's just going to cry for the next 45 minutes.
We're just going to cry. Perfect.
Crying and laughing.
Very emotional.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Heidi.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say harmony. So when we were working with this creative agency, they came to us with several, I think there was 5 different words that they used to describe an overarching kind of theme for what we wanted to have in this brand and represent. And harmony stood out to all of us. Yeah. And so we went forth with that. So do you want to talk a little bit about what harmony is and what it means?
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah. I'd love to. I think the reason we were all so drawn to it, like, I think something it's a very current, it's in the air. Like, it's very much the zeitgeist right now. Like, this is what we are all looking for. I think that as a society, as a world, as humanity, as a universe, I want to say, because it is that big to me. It is that holistic. We're all looking for this. We're looking for harmony. Where can we balance things out? Where can we feel at ease? Where can we find comfort without boredom? Where can we grow and learn, be confronted, be shaken, but not lose our ground, not lose our safety, and not lose our sense of security and confidence? And that is so hard to achieve, especially with everything that is going on, and especially with the internet and what we are doing. There's so many rapid changes. It's so exciting, and finding a bit of a home base, a place, like kind of a place from where you can start, like your starting point, for it to be grounded and peaceful, I think is something that we're all always looking for. I also think the word harmony, for me personally, really stands for a community, because I feel harmony is not something you do on your own. I think it involves other people. It involves the environment. It's not egotistical. It's not focused on the self. It is individual, but it's different individualities coming together, creating harmony. So I think it's a very collaborative, environmental focused, community focused kind of state condition, if you will. And and I think it's integrated into everything. Yeah, so I think that's why all of us, when we heard it, it just touched something in all of us, and maybe for different reasons. But in the end, it's such a beautiful way to think about everything that you do. And I think it's a really beautiful concept for us at Pixels, as human beings, for us as human beings in the world, to take that as a how do you call it? Like a final point, and for all of us to move harmoniously towards that. And whatever comes our way, things that may kind of, shake us off our path, that's just part of it. That's part of finding harmony. Part of finding harmony is being out of harmony sometimes. And so I think that's why we felt so connected to it. And in so many ways, I see how that also weaves into our game, into our experience, and probably also in a lot of ways into the psychology of our users, of our community, of our players. And I think that's what we all have in common.
And I think what really spoke to us when we were discussing it was this line here. I'll read it. Harmony is created when energy is in balance. Harmony is disrupted when energy falls out of balance. So it was this idea of harmony being a beautiful overarching kind of goal, like you suggested, but also it can be disrupted. And that's where gameplay comes in.
Yeah, it should be disrupted.
Yeah, so our game design team has been putting in a ton of work, and the whole team in general, community, game design, dev, all of this too. And we were kind of putting in the hard work to figure out how we bring all of these different ideas and all of these different directions together under like one North Star. And that's how we kind of landed on harmony. So this word is kind of affecting how we view every single aspect of what Pixels is. The game, the community management, how we build internally, how we talk about the game externally. The stuff in game is really, really interesting to me. And it gave this game design team a really, really good North Star to actually design and build game mechanics too, which is like this word harmony is going to be really, really critical as we start to release new features, as we start to build narrative and lore, and as we move on to the next set of features too. So we have broken down Pixels into what we're calling chapters now. If you guys followed that Twitter thread that we announced the other day, you can actually expect all the releases to come in larger batches, even though up into chapter 1, we're in the prologue now if we want to kind of go into the nitty gritty of that. But we're going to be releasing some stuff up to the prologue. Chapter 1 is going to unlock a ton of new features. And the initial focus of these features is the harmony aspect of creating new energy, bringing things together, all of that. The second set of features, Chapter 2, that'll be more on the other side of harmony, which Gazelle and Heidi kind of alluded to, where harmony is great when things are going together, but then harmony can also be disrupted. When you think about social features, or we think about the next set of features that we release with Chapter 2, that's where our game design team is going crazy. They're already thinking about some things there, but that's kind of going to be the direction and the North Star that they're designing and building around this whole concept of harmony. So that's why we're so obsessed with this word right now. It's literally in every aspect of Pixels.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about how harmony can relate to Pixels. So as we suggested, like we're still designing this out. It's going to be the core of our product and our brand and our game. But from a higher level, how are we relating it? So, we exist to create and sustain harmony within and between every living element. And we are creating a world where players can find and connect with the positive energy needed to achieve harmony. I just love that so much. And there's a few other points here in relating to how is harmony going to work with our game. So rewarding cooperation between players and communities. Harmony comes when players work together. When players cooperate, they can achieve more. The next point, encouraging skills development and diversification. So this comes down to us being extremely welcoming. To create harmony, players have to have the necessary skills to connect with each other and shape their environment together. Meaning a more harmonious experience. The next point is proving choice selections with short and long-term feedback loops. So harmony isn't inevitable. It must be a choice made by the players, which I think is a really cool one too. And then the last one is enabling and inspiring expression. So harmony is not homogeneity. It's not created in a world where everyone and everything is standardized and aspires to be the same. So fostering that creative expression to free the mind and lift spirits.
Yeah, I really love that, Heidi. I think it's so elemental, and I think it's really they just got to the core of it, of how it's an integration of different elements and how these different elements balance each other out. Like that, I find that concept so cool. I really can relate to that. And I can really see it with us. I can see it with the game. I can see it with our teams and how we're working together. And it's just really, it's really something that we carry in our core. I don't know if you two feel that too, but
I do.
I do. Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah, there's also a really interesting time with interoperability as well here. I'm so obsessed with this, especially given today interoperability, but I think it's also going to be the biggest way that we can grow as a community and with other communities as well too. So we have a couple of core loops. A lot of them are around this aspect of harmony. That's like basically harmony when it comes into the game. It means how can we make all these systems work together, or not me or we as a game design team. It's actually you as a player. How can you make all of these systems that we're introducing to you guys? We're calling them industries, basically different things you can focus on in the game. So it's going to be a bit more, there's going to be more depth and nuance than just planting seeds and harvesting crops in this chapter 1 release of the game that's coming. I can't say the date yet, but it's coming very soon. And it's going to be kind of bringing all these things together and kind of figuring out how to create harmony out of all these different choices that you're presented with. That's kind of half the game right there. There's other core loops that involve upgrading and crafting and things like that too, we're also going to introduce another supporting loop that plays on interoperability even more. We're going to give more and more info about that as we go and expand upon this. But expect interoperability to be a really key part that's actually unlocked by certain game mechanics moving forward in the game as well too. So that's why we're trying to partner with more projects and get more people involved. This will be pretty innovative for the space, and we'll be the first ones to unlock interoperability in the ways that we're thinking about it. So again, if you guys have favorite projects or if you have anybody you want to get involved, obviously please let us know, tag them, anything like that. But this concept of harmony is just all throughout the game, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, so to just round this out, finish this off here, we have 3 brand values. So welcoming to everyone in every environment, connecting to yourself, your community, and the wider world, which includes equitability. Oh, I think I said it right. Okay. And the last one, rewarding, to play and to explore. So with that, we'd love to invite you guys to ask any questions you'd like. You can pop them in the general chat on our Discord. Just make sure you are tagging the community team so we don't miss any. And you're also welcome to come up here on stage with us and ask any of us questions. So we have Blue's Clue. I'll bring you up on stage. Hopefully this works this time. Hello, can you hear us? It doesn't seem to be working again. Okay, make sure you're on your phone and talk to me afterwards. We can test this. We can make this work. This seems to be an ongoing issue. Okay, so then going back to our Discord for questions. What's the plan in-game navigation and how is it going to be?
Oh yeah, I think the game design team just designed that. I've been asking for that for a minute as well too. But yeah, no, they figured it out. There's some cool stuff with that. Expect it to be a bit more involved. So our focus is on end user experience. We want to make sure that the experience feels really smooth and natural and feels like a game. So then navigating via URLs, we'll keep that for our power users, but we also want to make sure that the game feels really cohesive, feels like a full experience, and that's not kind of the way to navigate through farms. So yeah, that's a large focus on the game design before this chapter 1 release. Farm navigation and farm discovery, that's gonna be really important. We have a whole system, like a whole core loop that we designed. It's actually quite dependent on that. Visiting other farms, this is all the info I can give on this now. It's designed. I just don't want to leak. I'm full of leaks all the time. I'm trying to get better about that. But one of our core loops coming up, it's extremely dependent on visiting other farms. So you're going to need to be able to navigate between them quite well in order to unlock all the content you need to unlock. And we're going to play upon the differences in traits a lot more coming up as well in these NFT farms.
Okay, perfect. Let me just hop over to the questions here. Will we be able to customize our farm URL?
That's something I want to unlock. Yeah, that's technically feasible. There's no reason we can't do that technically. So now it's all about how much I want to share. It's cool that we have most of these things figured out now. Now it's all about what does Luke want to leak.
Don't
put yourself on mute.
I would say that's definitely a possibility. We can technically support it, and there probably will be a way to do that.
Okay. Next question. How will customization work with land designing in the future game?
Yeah, this is all figured out as well too, and this is all designed. It's actually, I think it's in the new white paper that I'm not showing people. But again, how much do I want to leak? It's going to be a bit different than what it looks like now. The key thing is you're going to be building from the inventory a lot more. And yeah, it's going to be a quite different experience. But it's going to feel pretty good. We were designing new farms. I think we might have actually been teased what some of these new ones look like in one of the threads. If you guys want to dig and research and make some theories around that, I saw some people guessing in the Discord the other day about what that system could look like. Expect it to be a lot more user friendly. Expect it to feel more like the Stardew Valley experience than it does now. There were a couple design decisions that we made when we were redesigning this feature about how it should operate. We really like the inventory building a lot better than like the overview. So we were keeping that tooling for our internal design team, but then all of you guys, like it'll basically be a much more cohesive game experience. All the building, all of the designing, all the customization. It's going to feel a lot more like Stardew Valley, essentially.
I know I saw them guessing or making theories around what that image of like a kind of like a smaller land plot was for. And I got really excited. I just love seeing everyone's ideas. Okay, next question. When will the landowners be able to design and create quests on our own land?
Yeah, so I would say that's maybe like a chapter or so away. That definitely won't come out in chapter 1. Essentially, what we're doing here at Pixels is we built all of these systems so that we can, as a team, design these features. So we have tooling built for every single piece of content that you see in game. Truthfully, the tooling's a bit buggy. It's okay if it's buggy, if it's just, well, Sergey's going to hate me for saying that. Yvonne's going to hate me for saying this. Are you two pixel artists? But my view is it's okay if it's buggy, if it's just us using it. But yeah, we need to iron those out. And eventually we're going to decide which pieces of these tooling that we want to release to the public. And as we want to encourage interoperability more and more, we're going to be releasing more and more of these tools. It's just figuring out how and when that's the best way to do it. But all these systems are set up in place where our artists don't need to code a single thing to put new items in the game, to create new quests, any of that. So this tooling is there and available potentially to release to you guys as well. And it's just figuring out the timing essentially of when we want to do that and when it's ready.
So someone was asking, when will there be a Heidi NPC? So that's a great question. We'll see as we build out the world more and have more quests and all of these features, we will have more NPCs. Can't guarantee there will be a Heidi one.
No, we make it happen. I mean, unless you don't want it to. It's literally so easy.
No, of course I want one. Of course I want one. We were joking yesterday because I love bubbles. Like when we were in San Diego, we went to the zoo and I bought like a bubble maker that just spat out an endless amount of bubbles. And we were saying that I should have that in game, which would be amazing. Anyways, okay, back to
the NPC builder. I want to brag about this because our dev team is amazing.
Yeah, you should.
The NPC builder is one of the best, like, easiest tools we have. It's like we can literally get new NPCs in the game in a minute or so.
Yeah, but not with bubbles.
Not with bubbles. That is true.
Yet. Okay. All right. Back to questions. When will the landowners be able? Oh no, wait. I just read that one. Hold on. Builder tools is basically all messed up now. What's the plan on it? Is it going to be fixed, or we wait until chapter 1 with the release of in-store upgrades instead?
Oh no, so there's fixes with that coming out. I think the ship date is supposed to be Monday. So this is a good conversation to have about how we're releasing up until the release of chapter 1. So we have some things that will actually still be shipping and delivering to you guys before chapter 1. So the idea is we want to have like a big growth push coming up before the release of chapter 1. It's a huge chapter 1. It's a blockchain backed game. That puts us in another league than where we've been at before once we have it out. I think truly we're going to have one of the best blockchain backed games that is out on market when we release it. And I'm super excited about that. So that means we need a big growth push before that as well too. Hyping up the token drop, hyping up this release, and getting a decent user base to seed the tokens too. So we want to ship as many of the features as we can before this chapter 1 release out to you guys in order to, number one, just have the game look a bit more polished as we're going through this push of growth. Things like the new UI, things like the sound engine, those are not super, like, those aren't going to spoil anything if we ship them out early, and those systems are actually ready. So it's just like those minor touches really go a long way in terms of retaining users, in terms of like making people think, wow, this game is pretty cool. This game looks really polished for being a blockchain game. So we want to get those out before we actually ship chapter 1. So we have a release coming out on Monday. Granted that everything is tested well, it's looking pretty good. We just did QA on it yesterday, so it should be good to go by Monday. I think we're shipping the sound engine then, and there's a ton of tooling fixes that we've done. So that's the world editor, the map builder, all of that are coming in that release as well too. Yvonne and our other pixel artist Sergey have been using these tools because they're actually creating new maps and new content. So they pointed out and found a lot of the bugs themselves too, and they were begging our dev team to fix them. So you can thank them for getting those bugs fixed. So yes, the world tools, expect a fix for those quite soon.
Okay. Let me look at the questions. People are just joking about my bubble obsession now in the general chat, so it's quite amusing. Okay, what merch have you planned, and how are you? And that now that you have great branding to back it up. So, branding, yes. I mean, sorry, merch. This has been a huge internal conversation as we were going to do a soft launch of merch, and then it just didn't really work with what we were doing internally, and we decided to push it out. And now we have this rebrand, and so we're trying to figure out how we want to go about this. Also, the amount of money we want to allocate to it within our marketing and growth push. We are working with a budget in mind, and so how much of that do we want to put towards merch? These are all things that we're working on internally and trying to create a balance around. So merch is a little bit on hold for the time being. We definitely intend on releasing something at some point, but just know that it's in the works.
I can speak a bit more on this too.
Sure.
Yeah, so merch is one of those things where it's like we're a game company and we can provide more utility to you guys than just dropping shirts or dropping really expensive hoodies like other NFT projects. Not to call them out, but I want the focus of the project to stay on building out game features and getting that all ready. So whenever we do something like a merch drop or something like that, it's not necessarily taking away. It's not about the money. It's not about any of that. It's taking away resources that we could be allocating towards making the game even better. And I'm always thinking about, okay, like, is this in particular also going to grow the project, or is it just going to be like a cool thing that we can do? So merch is one of those things where it's like, for the amount of time, energy, and like potentially money that we spend on it, is that actually going to move the needle in a way that benefits all of us? So the holders of this project, the people who like really care and want to see a good game built, we need to make decisions that are smart leading up to this launch about what really moves the needle in those kinds of ways. So we actually are going to do something with the in-game store. That's going to be some like pretty fun stuff of our growth marketing campaign. We have some cool things planned around that, and then we might do a small drop of like print on demand merch. We just did print on demand merch internally for the team. The quality wasn't amazing, so it's like there's interesting things like that where it's like we could source high quality merch and spend a lot of time doing that and have that be our thing, or we could build a really cool game and focus on growing that and building that audience. So that's where we're kind of leaning towards.
Well said. Okay. When will the new graphics come out, since there will be a push for marketing? I don't really know what you mean by that.
Yeah, so that's what our artists are working on that right now, actually. They're designing new maps.
Okay.
Using like all the new art that they've created. So that's definitely not coming on Monday. That might make it in the next release, which is 2 weeks later. If not, it'll be the following one. But it's there and getting worked on now. There's somebody currently doing the new UI right now as well too, our devs. So this stuff is shipping before launch, and we're getting it out as quick as we can.
Okay. And any news on relevance of traits, the silo, house, forest, density related to blockchain, play to earn, and farming?
Yeah, that's all coming. I'm super excited for that. These things will all actually look different too. Like space, water, and land, they'll all have like different looks and themes to them. But then also beyond that too, part of what we're designing is you'll only be able to get certain things or certain resources on certain pieces of land. And that plays into the traits, that plays into the rarity. Just that's maybe alpha, but that's getting built and that's shipping in the release of chapter 1.
I'm so excited for that. I feel like that's also been like months in the waiting, so that will be really, really cool. Okay. And
yeah, oh my god, I can't wait to get rid of those low res backgrounds. That was a hack I added behind the land, like those water space things. That needs to get out of the game.
I'm so excited for those to go. Sorry, I thought you were about to drop some serious tea, and I was like, no.
No.
But me too. I'm really, really excited for that to be gone. Okay, and then last question I have here: any news on guilds?
Yeah, so chapter 1, the focus is on shipping a blockchain-backed game, making sure that we have the base econ balanced, making sure the game is fun as that is. Truthfully, it'll be a bit more single player than we would love, but there will be elements of like you need to go and explore the area, the spaces, and mix and mingle with people in order to get the resources you need to progress in the game. Chapter 2, that's the big emphasis on social features. So that's where we're going to be putting a lot more time and energy in the guilds. And also, like we were saying earlier in the space, an emphasis on those elements of harmony that aren't just coming together, but also disruption and sabotage and all of that too. So that's super exciting. I don't think that will take too much longer after the Chapter 1 release to get those out. But that'll basically be like the team will start designing that, even release Chapter 1. Like work is already getting done on some of those things in terms of like those elements of gameplay, the Chapter 2 elements. But yeah, expect it to be an iteration and expect most of those social features to come in Chapter 2.
Okay, I asked if anyone had any last minute questions, and Yvonne has requested what are the team's favorite ice cream flavors. So I'm obsessed with lemon gelato. That's my go-to.
Pistachio. I love this question, Yvonne.
I like coffee flavored ice cream.
Yeah, I don't think you should. Unlike it.
Okay. His is mint chocolate. Interesting. Cool. What chapter is combat? That's coming from Rag Poet.
Yeah. So the Chapter 2 stuff that's planned with the social, it's not combat maybe how you would expect it. But there are elements of sabotage. There's elements of like player versus player sabotage. So it's not direct combat like you guys might be asking for in the Chapter 2 stuff that's planned. Chapter 3, that's stuff that we can explore beyond that as well too. One thing I want us to move towards is kind of a community game development mindset, where again, like this is your guys' game. You guys own NFTs that relate to this game. We're really just building it for you. So we take your feedback super seriously. And eventually, you'll see in the white paper when we release it, there's a plan of slow decentralization. I'm still really bullish on the idea of decentralizing most aspects of this project, but doing it slowly and doing it in like a really smart way. And those kinds of decisions, I think, are a great thing to leave up to the community eventually. Of okay, what does the community want us to focus on for Chapter 3, for Chapter 4, for Chapter 5? We're going to support this game forever. So yeah, it's not just like a one-off game like some other games. Like some mobile games, you design them, you intend for them to last for like 5 months, make money, and then leave. There's other games, and this is the style of game that we're building, where the intent is to support them for as long as possible, as long as people are. So we'll continue to build with the community, take feedback on what they want, and iterate as well. But then, yeah, the first 2 chapters, we are pretty bullish on like these are the things that we think we need, and we'll engage the community even more.
Okay. Are there going to be collabs with like Habbo NFT, or is there a collab that can be leaked?
Yeah, we have collabs that we want. We're gonna start work on. Well, actually, no, we do have a few that are like in the pipeline that you guys don't know about. I don't even know if all the team knows about it. I've been in the DMs of all these founders, just chatting away and figuring out ways that we can work together. Yeah, there's a big push I have for future interoperability again that nobody's doing right now. That I think will be pretty unique. I don't want to spoil this one though because I want us to have first mover advantage on this. And I want to make sure that we kind of surprise the space when we release these. So we'll get a couple of these partnerships that we're thinking about lined up, and get like an entire cycle around that going.
Okay. Is the Golden Rake in the general store going to be like a public marketplace where people can buy and sell?
That's a good question about the store and what we're doing with that. So essentially, this is going to get, I don't know how technical and nitty gritty you want an answer for this. I'll give you the short answer first. No, we are not going to sell the rake in the store. That was just to put a teaser and kind of give you guys an idea of what the store can do eventually. The store is going to have a lot of iterations, and that's kind of the base of our like econ strategy. So essentially, V1 of the store, we are going to kind of operate it the same way that we do now. You will be able to sell different in-game items to us at the store, and we are going to mint new tokens and give them to people in exchange for these items. We set like arbitrary prices based on what we think is best and based on the game balance that we're seeing. But again, they're arbitrary. They might not actually reflect the market in the way that they should. And it could be an interesting way for us to like burn currency as needed or introduce new currency as needed. Eventually, V2 of the store will be a much smarter store, one that adjusts prices based on supply and demand. And then version 3 of the store, we actually might get rid of it. And we might make it so that, there is no Pixel's own store. We don't mint new tokens. And the only way to get tokens is by trading with other people. So That's the awesome thing about Web3, where you get most of the in-game trading for free. We obviously can build nice UI to facilitate that, but you don't really need us to do it. And we need to assume that you guys can trade goods with each other as well. There's also this other currency that we're introducing as well too, where you're going to be able to buy different in-game items with that currency. But then yeah, we'll talk about the store and econ a lot more when we release the white paper for you guys. It's pretty exciting. I geek out on this. I don't know if you guys care about it as much as I do, but I think we're being pretty clever in the approach and pretty. We have like iterations that are quite smart, I feel like.
No, and it's so interesting. I'm actually really excited for when we do have the economics nailed down a little bit more, so that we can have a space focused on it, because it is super interesting and it's really exciting listening to you geek out about it. So yeah, and you actually answered, I think the last question that someone asked was about will trading just be through the store, or will it be player to player? So
yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah, early on it'll be in the store. Player to player trading, that, like, obviously you will always be able to trade NFTs player to player outside of the game. There's nothing we can do to stop that, and also we don't want to stop it. That's a cool part of this. Hopefully we can support that in our UI before we release chapter 1. That's one of those things where it's like we're trying to. That might be something that we release like a couple weeks after chapter 1. We're trying to figure out like what exactly is going to make the cut and what won't, and what's the necessary thing and what isn't. But yeah, we're definitely working on that.
Great. Okay, well, that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you, Gazelle, for joining us and talking about Harmony.
Thank you for having me here. This was nice. Thank you.
I love that. And yeah, thank you all for asking all of your great questions. If you have any more, you can pop them in the general chat. Just tag the community team and we will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.